All right, so we're good recording. Okay, so I'm recording. All right. What's up, guys? Coach Steve here, NDO Podcast. I keep doing that. I keep wanting to say NDO training. But today I have a special guest with us today, Coach Haley. She's currently in North Carolina. Former Iona Gale, D1 Hooper. Walk on to a 3-year starter. Led them to their first championship in school. That's a little bit of a background from what I have, and basically telling her story and learn about her journey, and so we can, get to know her. So, but how are you doing today, Haley?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm just trying to get as many Hooper trainers, as I can. Coaches. I got to start getting into coaches, to be honest. But on this and just to tell their story and try to educate and help other players basically on their journey, and hopefully it'll resonate with them. So, yeah. So basically, let's just start with you. What are you doing right now, and um, you know, how'd you get here to this
Yeah.
point?
So I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina right now, and I just started a training business of my own called HoopOut.HD. There are a couple of female trainers in town, but not many. So because of the experience I had in college hoops, when I moved down here, I thought, all right, well, just like you, I want to be able to help kids. I want to be able to share my knowledge, not only just on the skills side, but on the mentoring side, and just be able to share with them my experiences and hopefully help them, you know, go through that path if they want to get to the college level, or even just a young kid that's trying to make the 8th grade team or their high school team. So I've been doing it for a little over a year now, and I'm loving it. It's been so far exactly where I feel like I'm supposed to be. And as I go, I'm just, I'm learning like everybody else. So my experience at Iona, I think has definitely helped get me on this path, because I had so many great people, from teammates to coaches, like you said, to just supporting cast, family, everybody. So I really do feel like I'm in my lane right now. And so that's where I'm at.
No, that's huge. And it sounds like you seem pretty happy with where you are, and that's one of the big things I kind of preach, on my podcast, is just like trying to be able to do what you love. So obviously it doesn't feel like work.
Definitely.
Um, so
Definitely.
yeah, so let's talk. Let's go back now. Let's go. Let's talk about you growing up. Where'd you grow up, and then you know where'd your love for basketball come from, and you know when did you decide that you felt like you can play at the next level?
Yeah, so good question. So I grew up in Morris County, New Jersey, about 45 minutes outside New York City. And I'm one of 4 siblings. So I have an older brother, an older sister, me, a younger brother. And the difference from the oldest to the youngest is 5 years. So we're like all right in a row.
Oh,
So my dad is the one that really introduced us to hoops. We used to sit down every single year. We watched Jim Valvano's speech, and being from New Jersey, sorry, he wasn't a Nets fan. He was a Knicks fan. We used to watch the Knicks games, and we'd go outside all together as siblings, and we would just hoop. And so we were extremely competitive. And I probably just tried to follow in the footsteps of my siblings, really. And the ball was just kind of put in my hands, and I fell in love with it. Um, and I'd say, I played multiple sports growing up. I played, and it wasn't until my senior year of high school, actually, that I quit everything. And I was like, I'm just going to focus on hoops, because I know that I can play at the highest level, and I know I have it in me. And aside from some of my real close supporting cast, everybody thought I was crazy because at that time, I mean, I was like 100 pounds soaking wet. I was small, I wasn't the fastest, the strongest, I wasn't the most skilled. I just worked my butt off. And I knew in my heart of hearts that because I worked that hard, I could play at whatever level I told myself that I could. So let everything go, reached out to just a bunch of schools. I was writing every school that I could think of that I felt like I could play at. And it just so happens Iona came to see a couple of my games. They'd come to my games and I'd see them leave maybe at halftime. And, it was definitely a battle. They had their scholarships already filled. But I got a conversation with the head coach and I said, hey, can I just come to campus? Can we meet? Can we talk? And he was like, well, you could come. Let's meet. Let's sit down. Let's talk. I just don't know if I have anything. And I was like, it's okay. It's all right. So great opportunity. He invited me to campus. I met the team and then was able to sit down with him one-on-one and just basically told him, what I'm telling you, like, I might not be as skilled as everybody else. I might not be the strongest, the fastest, but I'm telling you, like, I work. And so he's like, all right, well, if you want a spot on the team, you have a spot on the team. You could be a walk-on. You'll still do everything with the team, but I don't know if I'll ever have a scholarship for you. And I was like, all right, fair enough. And we left there, and I remember looking at my dad, and I was like, I'm going there. Like, that's the school I want to go to. That coach gave me an opportunity just to even, say who I was. And so I ended up going to Iona and, worked my butt off my freshman year, particularly just because I had to. I was now on a team that had multiple athletes that probably could have went even higher than Iona. But if I ever once let myself think like I don't belong on the court with these girls, then I would have failed. So a lot of it for me was the mental side and trying to train my mind to act and think and pretend that I was that scholarship player. And with that mentality, that's why I was able to earn a scholarship a year later. And that's why I went on to, lead my team to a championship and be able to have the success that I had there.
No, it's huge. I mean, I totally get that part. Like I talked about, we're helping people on the mental side. People don't realize the walk-on route is not easy.
No, it's not.
I'm the same. I was the same way. I was a walk-on turned scholarship, and it's just there's a lot of things we went through that people don't see or they don't understand and I think the walk-ons don't get enough recognition just because they're not playing as much. Luckily, like our situations, we were able to contribute, but not every single walk-on gets to play. And but they're there during those unseen hours, the practice time, the grind. They put in the same time off the court in terms of schoolwork too. I know for me at least, I was still taking 5 classes. I didn't get to take summer classes as much, and it was a grind. It was challenging at times.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's no, like I said, I mean, it's amazing what you did there, and so now like.
So can I pause? Can I say one thing for whoever's? You have 2 walk-ons that are speaking right now that went on to be scholarship players in the MAC. The MAC too. We got Fairfield.
Yeah.
And so if that's not inspiration for people that are listening, I think that's huge in itself because you don't need to just get a scholarship. If you don't have that scholarship, there's still opportunities. And sometimes I feel like that's where kids these days lack ambition. Like they feel that maybe they're not wanted because they didn't get that scholarship, and they look at the walk-on side as a negative thing, but they shouldn't. Like that's the opportunity right there to prove yourself, to prove what you say that you're worth, not what other people think you're worth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the other thing is just like, going where you're wanted too. That's the other thing. Like, he said, you're the coach, you had the conversation. Coach flat out said, we want you. He kept it 100% with you, said, look, I don't know if I can get you a scholarship, but you have a spot on the team. So that showed, the initiative that he wanted you to go there and play. And I think that's a huge, to what you were saying too, is just like, go where you're wanted, because that'll make your playing experience that much better and much more enjoyable too. Then again, you could be someone like me who went into a situation and had to earn the respect of everybody, due to the fact that when I went to Fairfield, I started a conversation with the previous coach, only to find out he leaves. And so they hired a new coach the year I go in. So then I had to reestablish the relationship. So it was a little difficult on my part, but like that's what those experiences and those that journey kind of made us who we are. You get, so but yeah, no, now let's go, what was the hardest part about this whole thing, in terms of just like, from, I guess, your recruiting standpoint to maybe a challenge when you got to school? Like, what was probably the most challenging thing for you?
I think the most challenging thing was the mental side of it. So in the recruiting process, kind of what I just talked about is, I went my whole senior year not knowing where I was going to commit. And I didn't decide that I was going to go to Iona until I think it was the end of March, of my senior year. So everybody was, signing with their teams, and, they have their signing day and they're celebrating, and I really didn't know. And then I have a really close supporting cast. My family plays a huge, huge role in my success. So I owe that to them. And it was hard on the mental side, because when you start to taste some success, you do cross people, politics and sports, and, certain situations where people are doubting you. So that mental side is what becomes really important. For me, it was, like I said, I had to act and pretend like I had a scholarship, because the second I didn't was the second I knew I wouldn't earn that scholarship. And like you said, having to just juggle, you just go through a different process as a walk-on. For every 5 push-ups that your teammates do, like, you need to do 10, 20. Yep. I can put it, but like, that's the mentality, so it was trying to learn that mentality, trying to find the right people once I got to school, the right teammates, because you're going to come across a ton of different teammates, some that have that mentality of go-getter, all hard work, and others that are like, okay, I'm on the team. And, you go through different personalities. Yep. So finding the ones that I knew that would be my, like, good role models that I could follow and say, okay, well, she's shooting 1,000 shots a day in the off season, so I have to shoot at least 1,001. Finding your niche there too, of people that are trying to help you and want to see you succeed as well, because at the same time you're also competing. For me, I was competing for a spot, I was competing for a scholarship, and you get people in my spot that were like, oh, we're not gonna let her get a scholarship, like, we want to play, we're the point guards. Luckily, I had great role models in my position that definitely helped lead the way. So, but it's all, for me, what I teach now too in training, it's 99.9% mental. And that's been my whole journey.
No, that's huge. Yeah, and like you said, like, I completely agree with you. It's the mental aspect that, I think more and more people are being put onto. And if all the top coaches and top trainers, they understand that EQ, the emotional intelligent part about everything. And, those are the most successful in my opinion. So like, they understand how to push people's buttons, and they understand when to not coddle them, but like have a real, heart to heart conversation, and those are the people that have the most impact in my opinion. So, talking to you, you sound like you have that same mentality as I when we train our players. And it's just like this skill stuff is important, but like you also got to be able to manage. We don't know what's going on at home. We don't know what people are telling you in your friend circle, like, or whatever it is. There's going to be outside factors that are going to try to bring you down or make things challenging, but you got to be able to, persevere through that. So now let's talk about, I guess, post-graduation. This is another part, like, what were your goals and dreams, I guess, going through college, right? Obviously playing again a scholarship was one, but what was a motivating factor for you when you were in college, right? And then post college, what did you see for yourself? What did you want to do? And what ultimately pushed you to the training route?
Yeah. So my original dream, especially when I was a walk-on and I sat on the sidelines that whole year, I learned a lot about the game. I also learned a lot about, building relationships. And so my original dream was that I wanted to be a Division I head coach. So that's kind of the path I took through school. And after I graduated, I stayed on staff at Iona as director of basketball operations for a year. And then I was promoted to assistant coach. And so I was able to go out and do some recruiting. And I absolutely loved Iona, loved my staff. But I was also, I think, a little bit burnt out. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I wanted, when you're a college athlete, you don't have the chance to travel. You don't have a chance to have an internship. You don't have a chance to really do those things. So for some reason in my head at that time, I was like, all right, well, there's more out there that I want to do and I want to explore. So I was like, maybe I want to get a real job. I want to get into sales. So I kind of bounced around, to be honest. I think at that point in time, once I gave up, not necessarily my dream, but I kind of shifted gears, I was definitely lost. And that's just the honest truth. I mean, you go from looking at a piece of paper in college every day that says when to wake up, when to go work out, when to go to class, when to eat, when not to eat, and then all of a sudden you graduate and you're like, wait, what do I do? What do you mean? Like, you were telling me what to do since I was a walk-on 5 years, like 5 years telling me every step of the way. And now I'm on my own. Like, what do you mean? So, I got in the professional world. I took a sales job in the healthcare industry. And then my parents moved down to Wilmington, North Carolina. The same time they moved down there, I moved to Texas. I had some friends that worked out there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I've never been outside of New Jersey, New York, so I'm like, I just moved on a whim. And that was probably the craziest thing I did, but I was like, let me just get out and meet people. And I had friends that knew somebody that was moving there, so I linked up with her, and we got whatever. We moved to Texas, we moved to Houston. I lived there for a year.
Wow.
And that was awesome. That was cool. It was different, but then I was definitely homesick. I was like, okay, I'm far from home. There's no beach here. It wasn't my lifestyle anymore. So I moved to Wilmington because that's where my parents came. And I was working 3 part-time jobs once I got here because I knew I didn't want to go back to New York and New Jersey. I was happy in Wilmington. I knew I could, it's a small town, so on the business side, you do have to establish yourself to get into, a professional career or something like that. So long story short, I ended up meeting my husband here in that time frame, and he went to school at UNCW, which is UNC Wilmington. And so I was like, all right, he's from New York and he was down here. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not moving back up there. And he's like, all right, let's just stay. And he has been the biggest influence in terms of me starting my career in the training world, because he's just positive and supportive. And, you know, like we've talked about, trying to associate yourself with people that have that mentality. That's just been a blessing, because I've been able to now explore the training side and the coaching side. So ultimately, I really do owe it to him for where I'm at right now, because we took a leap of faith, and we were like, before we have a family and things like that, go for your dream. And he was like, go for your dream. And so that's where I'm at right now.
No, that's huge. That supporting cast, that backbone, it's always so crucial to have that. You know, even if it's just you, you know, you being your biggest fan, I think that the more people that understand that, who can do that, right? I think we'll see more people being happy with themselves. And obviously with the basketball world, just like you'll be a better ball player and more happy when you play, because you know, you're happy with, you know, the work that you've put in. As long as you understand, you get what you put into stuff, you know, things can happen for you. And you know, obviously you took that leap of faith, right? And obviously he supported it too. And I think obviously you got people in your corner in terms of not just, you know, friends and family, but I think you're networking as well. And I think that's going to lead to bigger things. You know, and that's the thing that I think, you know, you should be proud of, and, you know, keep pushing with that, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, that is really important too. I think the belief in yourself has to come first too. So, I mean, there was a lot of times where, you know, up until this point in time, I was on my own. You know, I was trying to figure out life, like I just said. And I'm not ashamed to say I was lost at a time, because that's you going through life and trying to figure it out. And that's why they say, you know, only the strong survive, because those are times when you are by yourself and you're trying to figure out your thoughts, your feelings, your direction. That can be really, really hard. So you have to put that belief in yourself first in order to get to the next step.
Yo, I completely agree. And it's, I mean, obviously, like I said, just being real is like, it happens, it happens at some point. You know, that's kind of what happened with me too. Like I got lost after a certain event, and then I got back into coaching, and from there, just I grew attached to the relationships with the kids that I was working with. So it's kind of how it kind of pushed me to where I am now. So that's the other thing too. It's just even though you are alone, like during certain times, you're not alone because of the people that you come across. You know, if they were really true and genuine when you guys met, or they were, some people are put there on your path on purpose to kind of either nudge you in a direction, or is there basically to help you on your path. So that's something that always, you know, for our, you know, audience listening or watching this, to just keep in mind that it's, you know, you're not alone with things, but there are going to be challenges where you have to face things alone. So it's like, just like everything in life, it's just balance, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, I guess right now, I mean, that's really all I have in terms of questions about your path and your journey. How about this? Well, what was one of your favorite moments as a ball player?
I'd say probably winning a regular season championship at Iona. That was where it like just kind of all came together. You know, that's where you can see in that moment a glimpse, almost like you could see everything before that in your head. As soon as you win that championship, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is look at what we've been through to get here.
Right.
And cool, because again, we were able to hang a banner up. So every time we go back there as a team, instead of, you know, individual accolades and things like that, it's like, man, the class of 2013-14 did this. So that was definitely one of my best moments.
No, that's huge. Yeah, can't say I got to experience that, so unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, the closest we got to winning was my freshman year, and at that point, I was I was still somewhat of I was a practice player manager at that point, and we lost to the MAC finals to Loyola Maryland at the time. But
Who did you lose to that year?
uh,
Okay, yep.
yeah, Iona lost. Yeah, we upset Iona. They were on the men's side. They were number one. They had Scott Machado, Mike Glover. They had I think was Momo there. I don't know, but we weren't supposed to win that game, and we somehow won. But I think we would have won the whole thing if we had our best player, Derek Needham, at the time. I just actually interviewed him the other day, and he was talking about it. He was like, "Man, if he said he rather of us been blown out by 20 points than lose by 4, because he could have made up for that 4 points." But yeah, it's it's just crazy how like you can go back to these moments. And that's the other thing that I love about the game. It's just like no matter what level you play, you'll always have these memories and these times that you had with your team that you can always go back to and talk about. And I know for me, one of my best, even though my last 2 years we had the worst 2 seasons in school history, um, our the one thing I can say that I took from it was everybody that was on my team, for the most part, I'm still like really close with. One of my teammates, I was supposed to be, I was supposed to be a groomsman in his wedding. Unfortunately, I went to train in China for DJ, so I missed that. But just the relationship part, like we just talked about, is so, the memories are priceless.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I had teammates that were from Croatia, Nigeria, Ireland. So that was also really cool because, you met people and you crossed paths with people that unless you play the game, you wouldn't have probably elsewhere. So, and I still keep in touch with all those people. So, like you said, the relationship part of it is also huge. Like you'll always be that family. Like you'll always remember, the days that you had, whether a good year or a bad year, right? It's just the memories and part of, growing together as really one, because that becomes your family. I mean, that's like from the time you wake up to go to sleep, you're with those people 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's that definitely the bond too. Like you said, that's just unforgettable.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, I mean, we'll probably kind of wrap up here. I'm going to do a quick fun round. I'm going to ask you some random questions. And so okay, so let's go. Question 1. What was your favorite cartoon growing up, if you watched cartoons?
Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold. Like that one, football head. All right. Who was your favorite artist to listen to before a game?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. I like that too. All right. And then your favorite go-to meal right now?
Pizza.
Can't go wrong with pizza.
I'm having tacos.
Oh, it's Taco Tuesday on Cinco de Mayo. So, I mean, you gotta go with that. But no. And then how about the last one? What was your favorite brand growing up? Meaning like Nike, Adidas.
Man, that's tough. I'd say Nike, but then we transitioned to Adidas, and then I fell in love with Adidas, and so now I'm an Adidas girl. But that one's tough because I still love Nike.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So, no, those are the 4 questions. This is the first time we're doing this. I'm kind of going to make it a regular thing just so we can get to know, people more outside of basketball, Yeah. I want to ask this one. Dog or cats?
Dog.
Dog. Okay.
We had a puppy, so.
Really? Wow.
So that's been keeping my hands full on top of everything else.
Oh my goodness. What kind of dog do you have?
He's half husky, half shepherd.
Okay. This is a nice mix.
Yeah, he's a good boy so far, but I understand why people say don't get puppies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now
But yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I don't know if I could be able to do that. So it's like it's another being. Like you got to take care of it. And
yeah, it's good though. Spoiled. Like it was maybe for 3 days that he woke up in the middle of the night to go out. Like literally wouldn't even have an accident in his crate to go out. And I thought those 3 days were like the hardest days ever because I'm like, man, I can't sleep anymore. And now he's fine.
No, that's dope. No, but yeah, no. So I mean, thank you for joining us today. Definitely, I want to be able to link up in the future. If you come back to Jersey or whatever, I know DJ. I'm still working with DJ. Hopefully, this blows over. If you guys come up this way, you guys can stop by the gym, or if you do a camp or clinic, obviously I'm down to come down and help. And then, yeah, like just this is the other thing too. I just want to keep networking and making sure we're available to help each other out moving forward.
Yeah, you're awesome. For anyone that is listening right now, thank you for having me. I mean, you're an inspiration. What you're doing, I think, is huge. And I think it's definitely going places. Just hearing your story and where you're at. I mean, for anyone that's listening, you and I have maybe connected a little bit through Instagram.
Yeah.
And then sit here and talk and just share our experiences is really cool. So again, I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm excited to see where it goes for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And same to you. I know big things are on the way. So
Definitely.
yeah. So hey, thank you guys for listening and tuning in. I'm gonna post this on YouTube. Obviously it's gonna be on Apple Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud. And then Coach Haley, if you wanna, I'm gonna send this to you, and if anything, you can post any clips in here that you want to post. I think it's just like good content to have regardless. And but yeah, thank you for coming, and we'll be in contact.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, no problem.